my friends and fellow Americans, in my last installment, I promised, or warned if you prefer, that this was going to be a barn burner. Well, as I said last time, this is a very emotional issue for many. I'll try to maintain a certain amount of decorum, but please forgive me if I miss my mark by a little bit. While my position on abortion is very tenuous, at best, my position on birth control has been steadfast for over 30 years. I am 150% in favor of aggressive birth control. I'm for birth control for numerous reasons. I won't go into all of them. But for right now, I'll focus on one. They are a huge preventative strike against abortion. It's simple. More birth control equals less abortions. It's pretty simple. I don't want to bore you with a whole slew of numbers, but the best figures that we have available say that 22% of all pregnancies end in non-spontaneous abortion. For those of you that don't know, miscarriages are classified as spontaneous abortions. They're not part of the 22%. Miscarriages are not counted in that 22%. Now, if we take the most reliable forms of birth control, the pill, Norplant, IUD, etc., their effectiveness is over 99%, but we'll round it down to 99% for this discussion. Of the 43 million fertile, sexually active women in the U.S. between 2006 and 2008, which are the years for the most recent numbers that we have available, 89% of those, or 38,270,000, use contraception. 38,270,000. Of those women who use contraception, 71.7% use one of the methods that are at least 99% effective. Now, two of those methods are also tubal ligation and vasectomy, pretty much 100% effective, but we're going with 99%. Now, it's fair to assume that all 38 million women do not want to get pregnant, since they're actively using birth control. I don't even think that's an assumption. They're using birth control. If they wanted to get pregnant, they sure as heck wouldn't be using birth control. So all 38 million don't want to get pregnant. They don't want children. It's that simple. I think it's also fair to assume that if these women were to get pregnant, a great portion of them would opt for abortion because they don't want to get pregnant. They don't want children. It's not fair to say 100% of them would opt for abortion. Obviously, some would not take that step. That's why they're using birth control, to avoid abortion, and to avoid, obviously, having children. So let's split the difference between the 22%, which is the national number, and the 100% of the 38 million who we know don't want children. And that leaves us with, that means that if you split that's 22%, 100%, that's 78%. If you split the 78%, you get 39% is the difference, or is the median of the 78%. Add the 39 to the 22. That means 61% of those 38 million plus women would opt for an abortion if they were to become pregnant. That's a pretty conservative figure. So using the 61%, that means 23,344,700 would opt for an abortion. So to my thinking, birth control prevents that many abortions. I don't think I've gone too far off the reservation with those numbers, but even if we make it even more conservative and cut it in half, that's still 11 million abortions that are avoided thanks to birth control. It's that simple. Now we get to the meat of this installment. Why is preventing that many abortions important? Because abortions, by and large, are inhumane. In most states, a woman can easily get an abortion of a fetus that is just under 24 weeks old. 24 weeks is the cutoff in most states for abortions, after which you can only have them if they're medically necessary, There are some people that believe that fetuses are just inert masses, there aren't life. And I made the point in my last installment that one of the definitions of living is something that's not dead. Certainly a fetus isn't dead. You want to call it an inert mass, I mean, that's pretty messed up, but they're not dead, they're living. But for those people that say, oh, it's just an inert mass, blah, 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 would it surprise you to know that a fetus shows pain response at 8 weeks old? That's right. If you prick an 8-week-old fetus's hand with a pin, what will happen is a message gets sent to the thalamus. Doesn't even have a fully developed brain. The thalamus will send a message back, and the fetus will pull its hand away and open its mouth as if to cry or scream. That's right, 8 weeks old. That's pretty incredible. Let's go a little further. In 1980, S. Reynes and J. Goldman established lip tactile response may be evoked by the end of the 7th week. At 11 weeks, the face and all parts of the upper and lower extremities are sensitive to touch. By 13 and a half to 14 weeks, the entire body surface, except for the back and top of the head, are sensitive to pain. Wow. In 1984, President Reagan, during a speech to religious broadcasters, said that fetuses could feel pain during an abortion. This prompted a response from the pro-infanticidists, and all hell broke loose. As a result, a well-credentialed group of professors, including pain experts and 2 former presidents of the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, sent a letter to President Reagan which partially read, and I quote, real-time ultrasonography, fetoscopy, study of the fetal EKG, electrocardiogram, and fetal EEG, electroencephalogram, have demonstrated the remarkable responsiveness of the human fetus to pain, touch, and sound. That the fetus responds to changes in light intensity within the womb, to heat, to cold, and to taste, by altering the chemical nature of the fluid swallowed by the fetus, has been exquisitely documented in the pioneering work of the late Sir William Lilly, the father of fetology. We state categorically that no finding of modern fetology invalidates the remarkable conclusion drawn after a lifetime of research by the late Professor Arnold Gesell of Yale University in The Embryology of Behavior, The Beginnings of the Human Mind, published by Harper Brothers in 1945. Dr. Gesell wrote, and so, by the close of the first trimester, the fetus is a sentient, moving being. We need not speculate as to the nature of his physic attributes, but we may assert that the organization of his psychosomatic self is well underway. Mr. President, in drawing attention to the capability of the human fetus to feel pain, you stand on firmly established ground. This was 1984. These people knew what they were talking about. So here's the real issue. How humane can an abortion be to a 15-week or older fetus? One of the most common forms of abortion is to slip an instrument into the womb that has a noose on it. The doctor rips the head and limbs off the fetus. A fetus that by 14 weeks can feel pain in every area of its body save 2, the back and top of the head. To argue that abortion on the whole isn't inhumane is to deny known medical facts. Now, I can already hear the people screaming and carrying on, oh, you're not being fair. Actually, I am. Don't we think that there's a reason why women who undergo abortions have such a backlash of guilt, of mental anguish? We know it at the core of our being that abortion is not humane. I want to state once again that I do not want abortion to be illegal, but I want it to be an absolute last choice. And I want women to know exactly what it is they're doing to that life, yes, life, that's inside of them. I don't think that's too much to ask. This is why, to me, birth control is so important. If we can have 23 million less abortions by having birth control, I am 150% for it. Josh, man, thanks for helping me get through another one. And my friends, until you hear the sound of my voice again, may you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be loved. Peace and comfort.